Alright then. Welcome back, everyone. Also, yes, I did indeed forget to mute my microphone at the beginning of the stream. I swear, I need to figure out some way where the microphone is muted by default whenever you start up OBS, because it's a miracle I've remembered thus far, and I know deep in my bones that unless I find some kind of way to change it so that it's off by default, one of these days I'm going to start stream and then just mention my full legal name and address. So I don't know exactly how that would happen, but I can feel it happen in me bones. Also, hello, yeah, Moonwings, and of course to whomever else may be watching or listening. Let's jump right back in. It's been a bit longer than usual, but that shan't deter us. Go to completed workstation, hit backspace to cycle between workstations with finished recipes. Okay. Good to know. So, what was it? Control and Shift right click was putting in stuff in verbs and workstations, eligible ones. Exactly, and everything is remembered. Game loaded successfully. So we have sunny weather, which is sky and lantern, but I don't think either of those are really what we need at the moment. Alright. Yeah, so not for opening rooms, but perhaps advancing in our understanding of, most chiefly I think, pyroglyphics, which is currently level 4. And of course Sunny is a lantern memory. So we would need then 3 more lantern and forge memories. I have my notes at the ready. Ah, come on. Points in forge would be, for example, regret from the fallen cross. The fallen cross. Is it this one? Yes. Fallen cross with, what do you have a lot of today? We did kind of carelessly fatigue some of our stuff earlier, but that's fine. Sky Echoes. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. Right. That would be a regret. Then we have touch, potentially, but rather foresight from Vis-a-nci's minglings. Where are you? I think it's a big VM, right? No. No, this is Malachite's supplications. Where is... No. Vis-a-nci's minglings. Where have I put that book? Wainscot Histories... Chandler's Wish... It's one of these unlabeled ones. I thought it had... Well, anyways, we can also use the Chandler's Wish, which I did just espy. What was it? Oh god. No. There we go. Chandler's Wish. That one also gives us foresight, so... Oh. Huh. Right, we already set certain readings in motion, I recall. So we're getting, what's it? Foresight from there, we're getting regret from the Fallen Cross. Then we need one more in either Lantern or Forge, so we turn to Lantern. Revelation. Letters to my successor, as usual, will be our source of revelation. Here, what can we put here? Let's use some of our health since we have so much. Letters to my successor. There we go. And that should be everything we need for pyroglyphics. So, in the meanwhile, let's actually turn to some of these other lessons. For example, 𝐒𝐚𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿, which I guess we could also use the sunny weather on, but makes less sense in my mind to do that. It's actually... hold on. Trying to remember what kind of worker, because we're currently in summer. The grey letter, greatest. Right, so that would be a barber. Right. With moth and a little rose. Do we need moth for anything? Okay, the worm-eaten hall. The gaping darkness. But oh, hold on, let me... Oh, but I feel like probably it would make... Oh, well, actually, the infested wine cellar. Could we get into the infested wine cellar with just the barber and preferably without sacrificing our 𝐒𝐚𝐨𝐥 mead? So... moth food. Famously, if I recall, a bit elusive moth food and drink, but not entirely impossible to come by. So the honey is... what is honey? Honey is sustenance. Even though it's a liquid, it counts as food. So that would theoretically leave the door open to some moth drink, but we don't really have any moth drink that isn't... well, a bit too expensive to give away. Oh, the almonds are also moth. Good to know, but, well. Let's just take... okay, so we need 10. The barber already has 2. With the honey, that's 3. With the shears or any other kind of moth tool, that would be 4. Then... hold on, what's the... okay, so the old moment also just has 2 moth. Impulse has 2 moth, so whatever the case may be, that would be 6. And then we're still short quite a bit to get to 10. Okay. So we would be short 4 for 10, we would be short 6 for 12, which we could use to get into here, the Gaping Darkness, or alternatively this? No. What other moth? Okay, this is 11. Okay, so, how much 𝐒𝐚𝐨𝐥 mead do we have again? We don't have that view of it. So... and we are not that far away, I think, from finding out how to make more. So, yeah, I think we can use the barber to get into the gaping darkness. Thunder prowls the entrance to this cave. A dying curse or a capricious storm spirit. It must be dealt with carefully. Okay, yeah, so let's get the barber. In summer, the barber comes by to keep the villagers kempt. A shilling will buy his services. Barbers offer moth and a little rose, alternatively add a soul card to find any rarer guests who might be seeking employment. But no, not this time. I wonder though, does that mean they can't cut their hair any other season? Well, I guess you can always cut your own hair, but still. I guess it kind of makes sense for a tiny little island like this. Not too unusual. Okay, yeah, so let's hire the barber, and then once he's hired, we can start working at the Sweet Bones. Barber's assistant. The itinerant barbers of the South Country will keep you clean and kempt, make sure you don't miss out on any news or gossip, and arrange matters so you aren't too troubled by vermin. Snip, snip. An introduction and assistance, yes. And then let's break up a shilling here. Let's start working here with, I guess some whist, help with letters. There we go. Now what did we need here again? Okay, so sky or moth. So we have moth from impulse, and then sky from solace, for example. Notes on bindings. Notes on bindings. There we go. And then I'll read that here at Husher's station. With some frost. Heart unceasing. There we go. Let's speed this along then. Surrender silver, collect copper. And then the penny does its duty. And the waves march on. Memory impulse. It doesn't exactly make sense, but I understand it anyway. I mean, suppose we could have also used the occult scrap, but obviously using a penny doesn't use up a soul card. Which is quite nice. Also, I've just realized, I don't think I've ever noted down the occult scrap here. Okay, there we see. I really need to set up not to automatically remove messages but containing links, but you know, there's I think a setting which Twitch quite helpfully allows with the allowing for messages with links to be withheld until for you know, until they're okayed. Ah, yeah, right, that's what I wanted. Occult scrap. Secret histories are layered beneath the one we know, like the notes in rare wine. The librarian knows this well. So yeah, I don't think I've ever actually noted down the occult scrap as a memory, even though, of course, it is one. So that would be 2 points knock, 2 points moth, 2 points rose, 2 points knock, 2 points moth, 2 points rose. Yes, I suppose you have given me a little reason to distrust you. Hold on. Do I? No. Infernal website. How do I navigate the? There we go. Sure, there we go. Unchecked authority upon the abuse it well. And then we have evolved via oromachistry on the occult scrap. And we also have persistent. Well, actually, probably easier to just write this down than to copy it. Persistent. And it counts as an omen, which I still don't really know what that means. But, well, I suppose it probably has something to do with the late game, because there are a few workstations that take omens, but those slots usually also take memories. I guess not this one, hold on. Like this one, I think? Okay, so this one... okay, no, this one does indeed only take certain kinds of memories, like sound and omens. Okay. But anyways... yes, persistent, oromachistry, omen, and of course the aspects. Okay, so occult scrap is now also jotted down. I still haven't noted down any of the weathers under my memory section of my notes, but at the same time, that's not really that necessary, because mostly I make a note of all the different memories we've gathered to know how to get them in the past, and obviously you can't get the weather, you just happen to get any kind of weather. So study, what was it, the newspaper? And also, actually I don't know, is it that you always get, an occult scrap when you consult someone, or is it only on an affair consultation? I don't actually know, but for now I'm just going to write down consultation. That's the two sources we know thus far, and well, honestly we don't really need that much more, because studying the newspaper of course is pretty simple. So, something to consider. Foresight. Regret. And revelation. And now, with all those things assembled, we can advance our knowledge of pyroglyphics. Have we? Yes, we have committed that one. Oh well. And then the lesson, and what best to use here? I guess probably, maybe our shop, actually. So satisfying to have come so far. Improve this skill to level 5. And now... yeah. There we go. What's this? An afternoon spent profitably reading newspapers to the curious, writing affectionate letters for the lonely, steering farmers through the requirements of the Ministry of Agriculture. Manual labor. Wondering, is there anything we ought to gather while we're still in summer? don't think so. But what we should actually do is gather some more on the moor. With our fat, ideally, Path and Pilgrim gather in summer. Well, mainly our goal for today, as the title suggests, is to get further into the jail. But then again, oh, that reminds me. We do need to actually talk to the barber a bunch if we want to, you know, make use of his assistance. So actually I'm gonna use the impulse first here, then I'll break the florin, get another penny, and then I'll throw that one into the ocean again to get the impulse we need to exalt the 𝐒𝐚𝐫𝐶. There we go. And then 1 penny here. There we go. And then what we need next are the shears, which we can find down here, for example, I think. Yes, for example, here. Shears of the Sisterhood. Did we ever find... I don't think so, right? We don't really have a better moth tool, do we? Oh, we also have this thing here. The mortar and pestle, but actually not that useful considering forge is also gleamed from plenty of other tools, and nectar can be gleamed much better from the bronze knife. So... oh, and that reminds me, we do still have all this wine here. That we should probably... well, actually, should we move this wine up into the kitchen, or should we move the other wine down here? Probably better to keep it all in a centralized space. So, up we go. And then the blackberry sponge cake, where do we put that? I mean, we have eaten our... we have consumed quite a bit of food in the last few salons, making a bit more space here. Thank God all of these bottles have the exact same width, otherwise that would have been a nightmare. Oh, hello, Euler. Welcome, welcome indeed. I have just given Moonwing unchecked authority that I'm sure they will abuse in due time, but no, I do have a little more faith than that. But yes, we are furthering our expeditions, or I guess not expeditions, our forays into Hush House. Hopefully we'll make some progress on the jail today, as the title suggests, where last time we have made a few more entrances, and whatever went down here, it definitely wasn't good. You know, originally I thought that the jail was actually underneath Hush House, but no, it's actually this annex here. The chambers underneath Hush House are actually, unlike the jail, which is very new, very old. Barber's assistants, memories don't last long outside books, but it's made a difference for the day. Okay, so that's that. Then next up would be the shears. Proffer a tool. It is, careful, it's loaded. What was this? Oh, right, we were crafting more 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐞𝐿, which, Hold on, I'm just trying to remember. Ah, okay, now I remember. It was bitter black salts. No, actually, it wasn't bitter. We didn't actually end up needing the bitter black salts, did we? It was lantern. The xanthotic essence with liquid creates auroral contemplations with scholar level lantern plus liquid creates xanthotic essence, and then the xanthotic essence, inks of revelation, and keeper level lantern create the _𝐒𝐴. There's a mention of needing bitter black salts in one of the books for xanthotic essence. Maybe that's a different recipe, but not the one we are using. And also, the one we have with just any kind of liquid is way easier, because essentially we can just use water. So yeah, we can now mass produce _𝐒𝐴, which is very good. I do believe also we've used up our previous _𝐒𝐴 on... Right? Yeah, we did use that one up on reading a particular book. So... Oh. I'm just trying to... Hold on, what did _𝐒𝐴 have again? So moth, sky, and lantern. And here we have... We do have some promising sky stuff. Oh wait, this is a phonograph record. Hold on, what's our most powerful sky again? That would be putrefacitions and exaltations. That's 6 sky. Respectable 6 sky, then 7 with the Faust. And then I guess we'd need some kind of... Well, we can use the Didumos, or alternatively the Ascendant Harmony to get better thingies. Interestingly, it does actually keep the history, the message history on my end with the streamer bot window I have in OBS, which is interesting and also convenient for my sake. And of course, I'm pretty sure... Or actually, hold on. Does it get lost on the overlay? I'm not sure. Well, anyways. So... Hold on, if we're trying to crack a Sky 12 work... Hold on, isn't this also Sky 10? Oh. Okay, so we have Sky 10 and Sky 12. We have putrefacitions and exaltations. We have Faust. And then... Hold on. The record player... We can add a memory. Oh, we can add 2 memories. That's really good. 2 memories, okay. Wow, that's quite something. That essentially means we can... Wow, that's really powerful. But yeah, it does mean we can essentially... Hold on, what other sky memories did we have again? So Ascendant Harmonies and Diadumos, of course, and Solace, and the Cheerful Ditty, and the Beguiling Memory. Okay, the Beguiling Melody. So Beguiling Melody plus Putrefacients and Exaltations, that's already 8. Plus, I guess a Cheerful Ditty would be 10. If we add the Faust. And then we can get an Ascendant Harmony for the 12. Cool. Okay. So, first things first, we need those Lake Fuccio recordings, which are always great. Genuinely one of the best books I think we have at the moment. Books, quote-unquote. So that's that. Then Instruments of the Heart, that's this one. We'll read here with some core, why not? Instruments of the Heart, there we go. And then, yeah, we can read this one first, Opening the Sky. Expunged, I think, yeah. An unusual recording of Verrow's Opening the Sky, composed for the coronation of the new king, Henry IX. The record bears the suppression stamp Expunge. Strings and Songs, is that a new... I think that's a new... Oh no, we do have Strings and Songs already. And then if we craft... Hold on, how do we craft an Ascendant Harmony again? With... Craft Ascendant Harmony... Conjure Bright Sky Music, Purifications and Exaltations with Scholar level, plus Instrument, create Sky, creates Ascendant Harmony, so we need to do the whole rigmarole of getting the memories again to get to 10, which is essentially what we're already doing right now. Okay, so that would be a bit more involved, but possibly we can still do that today. There might still be enough time and enough soul for all of that. As they used to say in my youth, the day's done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. Okay, shot I think first, because that's probably something we won't need today. So he's at 5 now. The good barber. And with some honey, he'll be at 6. And then lastly, the skin shock mead will get him to 12. There we go. Unexpected finds in the folds of earth and sky. What's this? Granite slab. Okay. Still holding out for that, for those mushrooms. Speak to an assistant. And now the skin shock mead. I think we still have 3 of those left, right? 1, 2... Oh, no, just 2, I think. Okay, well... Suppose it can't be helped. But I think we're not too far off from figuring out how to make some of our own, right? Skin shock mead. 𝐒𝐞𝐫 ink is prepared with these techniques, but so is skin shock mead, and only skin shock requires honey. Insects and nectars, just as any beverage or foodstuff can be improved with the addition of honey, so any garden is improved with the presence of bees, even those bloody blumberende. Okay, so insects and nectars with honey. But we don't know exactly... I'm guessing nectar. Hold on. I'm guessing like keeper or scholar level nectar plus honey plus insects and nectars. But yes, I can finally do the bailiff. Put him in the device. Gods, seize him. Heart unceasing, the beguiling melody, and the cheerful ditty. And then, with all of those in hand, or I guess in mind, since they're memories, or I guess in vocal cords, since they're let's, maybe best not to focus too much on the details, or get lost in the details too much. Sky harmony. I can master this mystery. Enough sky to match mystery sky. And then actually, we probably want to do this one, Instruments of the Heart, right away again. Because we want to get 10 sky again to get that Ascendant Harmony. No, we love following Twitch TOS here. West, I guess? Yeah, that seems good. And then, down to the croissants. This has boosted their aspects appropriately. Indeed it has. 12 moth. Pretty powerful. Not too long ago that would have been utterly unthinkable, but we've come a long way since then. Thunder prowls the entrance to this cave, a dying curse, or a capricious storm spirit. It must be dealt with carefully. Alright, and then yes, we're currently preparing to have that read, or I guess listened to. In the meanwhile, I could actually take a look at what else we have here in terms of Sky Mystery, Lantern Mystery, and Moth Mystery. So this is more Sky Mystery, as is this actually, Mystery Sky 14 and 16. So the 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐞𝐫 provides us with 7 sky, and in turn, so that's 7 sky, the fast makes 8, plus, right, we're currently using, purifications and exaltations, that's 6, so that would make 14. So this one, each flame his fuel. Wait, no, actually, we can also use a memory on top, right? So we have the skill, that's 6, the fast, that's 7, the 𝐒𝐿𝐴, that's 14, plus the beguiling melody, that's 16. We can actually read... Oh, right, Deep Mandeg. I keep forgetting. We would have to learn that from 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿𝐷, and we can only re-invite 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿𝐷 if we have... What was it he needed again? Orpiment Exultant. Okay. Okay. So... Yeah, kind of funny that we lent the barber some scissors. Because you'd assume he already had some of those, but, well, I guess you can never have too much scissors, too many scissors. Okay, so this one is still beyond our grasp. Not by the depth of its mystery, but simply by, oh, this one is also in Deep Mendaic. Great. Okay. Okay. I see how it is. Meanwhile, what else do we have? We have some... Okay, no, this is scale. I thought it was forge. Scale, hold on. I'm pretty sure we've come a long way in scale, actually. Am I wrong? Because there are some scale skills that aren't that low anymore, right? So serpents and venoms, that's 4 scale. Well... Okay, yeah, seems serpents and venoms is our highest scale skill at 4. Then health adds another 1. Then the... some tool, I don't remember which one exactly, added... wasn't it the scales, literally? No, it was actually something else. Not the scales, but the serpent-styled glass. So that would be 6, and then we'd just need a scale... Oh, then we'd just need fear as a scale memory, and we'd be there. Now, do we have a scale desk? Yeah, we do. Okay. Seems simple enough, so let's do that, actually. Tantra of Worms, or alternatively... Hunting Journals of Brian the Wolf. That sounds interesting. And it's Furs and Feathers. Hold on, Furs and Feathers. That's 1. This Coil and Chasm. Coil and Chasm is already 2, so actually that might be more valuable. So yeah, let's do this one first, while we're still at the start of the season. Yeah, we know one, and that's 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐽. And for multiple reasons, inviting him isn't really an option. And then Fear from Black Nephirite. There we go. So... Oop. Oh, God. Let's put you back there. Well, not quite. There. Okay. Oh, I just realized there's some tea here. Oh, well. And, Ereb, I guess? Yeah. Moon the Cycle. Well, I guess, Shallow Mendaic is just too superficial for these texts. Okay. What else do we have here in the... shall we say, less higher quality section of our yet to read list? A bunch of film reels, which, what was our movie theater again? Forge... Grail. Sky Lantern. So, what's our highest Grail again? Sea Stories, probably. Okay, 4 Grail from Sea Stories. And then the Ereb, that's 6. And then the Beguiling Melody would be 8, right? Okay, so we have everything for this as well. Don't know why it sat so long unopened here. Oh. Huh? Was I? Oh, I guess I was mistaken. That was actually this, but at the same time, we can obviously also read this at a desk with what we have at the moment. Calcite supplications. So we'll need the beguiling melody for a third time, if I'm not mistaken. Or alternatively, satisfaction from 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐫𝐿𝐵's tasty treats. So let's actually go for that instead. Rather maybe do that at a desk where we can use some skills where we still have more ample supply of. 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐫𝐵𝐿𝐵's tasty treats. There we go. Nectar, fruits of knowledge. And then these movies, what was with them? Edge and Moon. Okay, yeah, they're going to be more difficult at our current thingy. Admonitory Automata Project. Footage of an experimental devices under development in the 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐫𝐵 under Governor Collar's supervision. Fascinating. Lockworks and Clockworks. Cool. I don't think we have that yet, do we? No. That sounds interesting, but sadly, hold on. Apologies. Highest for, oh no, wait. We have hieroglyphics. Dear Lord. Of course. So 6 from here, the metal, that's 10 already. 8 already. God. And then we just need some kind of lantern memory, right? Correct. So forge. Regret, that's just 1, but foresight from 𝐒𝐚𝐨𝐥, that's 2. So, don't know if we can do all of these today, but actually, it seems doable, actually, if we're quick about it, and make use of the fact that we now have a great deal of new desks. For example, this one up here that we rarely make use of. For, what was it? 𝐒𝐚𝐴𝐵𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐵, correct? Yes, for the foresight. There we go. So this is the cheerful ditty. And we'll need our last boss for that. And, hold on. Do we need the... Okay, I think we may actually not have enough time to create the... Wait, what? Okay, currently I think we're trying to advance the 𝐒𝐚𝐫𝐵𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐵, so... this and this. I'm trying to really remember what was I? Oh, and I also gained the solace from... Oh damn, did I accidentally start reading... What did I get the solace from? See, that's the peril of doing so much at once. You kind of lose track of... What did I get the solace from? Don't remember. Actually... Oh, these actually, funnily enough, Cheerful Ditty and Solace have the exact same thingies, but anyways. So, Trist, I'm no expert, but I'm no dabbler either. Improves this skill to level 3, okay, so that's done. Then, I mean, we don't have that much time left today, so I have to see which of these, things resolve. Airway. Okay, what do we have here? Vase of Gorse. As Cornish a plant as any. Okay. Still no mushrooms, unfortunately. So we have Satisfaction here. We have Fear here. We have Foresight here. And we have some money here. Okay. So. Film studio. Metal hieroglyphics. Foresight. And this thing. Forge the kindled flame. I can master this mystery. Enough forge to match mystery forge. The Admonitory Automata Project. Footage of experimental devices under development in the Cucurbit under Governor Collar's supervision. That sounds very interesting. And then we have the Fear for the Tantra of Worms, which, which was the highest scale here? Serpents and Venoms. So, here we can now Tantra of Worms, Fear, Health, Serpents and Venoms, and then the glass. The serpent-styled glass. Scale unearthed. I can master this mystery. Enough scale to match mystery scale. This was the Tantra of Worms. The entomologist Juliana Zawistowski eventually came to insist that this text was written by insects inhabiting a human skin. She never presented evidence for her claim. There are diagrams. The diagrams are not good to look upon. Alternatively, we could create a what? A Bisklavret's knot. Use my own tears to trace a sigil of regret. I think I've... we've memory, crafting, forge, edge, winter, knock, scale. Yeah, we've already noted down that recipe. So, scale unearthed. There we go. I can master this mystery. There we go. And then the satisfaction for the calcite supplications. What was our skill of choice there again? The sea stories, correct? Yes. Okay. So, Grail desk. No. No. Eva's desk, perhaps? Yes. Only fitting to use sea stories here. Calcite supplications, prayers addressed to the Red Grail, but the sisterhood of the Triple Knot. The Ereb and the Satisfaction. Grail birth. I can master this mystery. Enough Grail to match Mystery Grail. Also the crafting recipes here. Salt sign, I think I've already... no, actually. Well, there are a lot of apprentice level... There are a lot of apprentice level moon recipes, so this would be craft salt sign. Use salt to trace a sigil of wave song and night travel. And then we have Witching Tisane. Here, where the sea sounds, I can mix a tide of I can mix tide-touched tisane. Sea stories with apprentice level grail creates witching tisane. Or for a scholar level recipe, if I soak fabric in the brew, I can twist it into a grailful little cloth doll. Would you look at that? Interesting. Interesting. So this is how we craft more dolls. Grail. Ah, haven't actually noted down any grail recipes before this. So this is witching tisane, and then with scholar level sea stories, grail, and fabric, we can make more dolls. But neither of that is what we're here for. We're here, Grail, Frustration or Temptation, Grail, Birth. I can master this mystery, enough Grail to match Mystery Grail. Right. Triple knot prayers. Okay, so we did actually manage to do all of this today. Somewhat surprisingly, honestly. Even in time to push a final shift at the Sweet Bones. I don't know if all of these are going to be ready by tomorrow, but whatever. At this point, we have enough soul to not care, really, that much about all of that anymore. I mean, theoretically, we do still have one Fost left. So actually, let's craft some more Xanthotic Essence, why don't we? Might as well, right? We have some Isle Water here. Then we have the Workbench, Fost, Rural Contemplations, and what do we need again in addition? I guess we would need something to provide additional. Well, actually, we can use up some of this refulgin because we're not really using it for anything else. Or alternatively, no, let's use the refulgin. And of course the liquid Xanthotic Essence. There we go. I mean, obviously we could also, the cheaper way would obviously be to get a memory, but we don't really have time for that today, so quick and easy like this. Xanthotic Essence. And then, what else can we craft today? I was kind of hoping to craft, what was it? An Ascendant Harmony, I think, today, but I guess we can do that tomorrow, and then once we have the Ascendant Harmony, we can read the Invisible Opera. I guess listen to the Invisible Opera, rather. Okay. This skill is now level 3. 4 Moth, 3 Sky. Not really that useful to us, but, I mean, better than nothing. What was our best Sky skill again? I constantly... Right, it was Putrefacitions and Exaltations. I mean, we've used that one quite a bit today. Don't think we have enough time left for a final expedition out on the moor, but then again, we rarely ever use the pet for anything else, so might as well. At this point, it's not really that big of a deal if we lose soul cards for a day, because Look at us, we still have plenty left, and we were quite productive today. Dusk, night has fallen, dawn will come soon. So productive, in fact, that it might soon be worth considering upgrading some of our soul cards. Like, for example, we have 5 health now. And yeah, actually upgrading our health, one of our health cards would make a lot of sense, considering they have their only source of scale and nectar. So that would give us the ability to have a soul card that has both 2 nectar and 2 scale, which is something we haven't had before. So let's actually start looking for a station where we might do just that. If I understand correctly, we need one that's shaped like this, where we can add a soul card here and a soul card here. And then, because I haven't really looked into it that much, I'd also... Hold on. So... we would need... evolve by _𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐞𝐭𝐬. I could use the _𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿 with this to evolve my soul. Once you've committed a skill to the _𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿 wisdom, you can use that skill with this to combine 2 identical soul cards into a greater one. But you must use a skill you've attuned to that wisdom, and the attunement will only work once. Okay, but otherwise it seems pretty agnostic, so to speak. So, say we use our occult scrap, then we'd need some kind of skill that's attuned to 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿. What do we have here? In terms of 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿, we have, when it is permitted, we have Inks of Containment, I think that was, yes, and Bells and Braziers. Okay. And finally, we need some kind of workstation that allows us to bring all of that together. Main difficulty is going to be finding a workstation that just takes 2 soul cards and also takes a health in the first slot. Well, this one actually would do the trick. Now, if we were to use 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿, that would be difficult. We can of course also use... do these have the same aspects? Oh, not exactly the same, okay. Actually, we could commit this to 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿, I've just realized. Off limits, the hours are not all powerful. There is a place beyond their reach where mortals and immortals might build a shining city of iron and ivory. 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿 understand the hour's limits. Is that... is the city unbuilt? I don't know. But yeah, 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿, alternatively... Hush ℍ𝕠𝕦𝕤𝕐. Okay, Hush ℍ𝕠𝕦𝕤 is pretty crowded, so that's not really happening anytime soon. How much metal do we have? We just have 3 metal cards at the moment, yes? Yeah. Just 3, so let's make that 4. Like so. And so now we have committed this to 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿. which means we can use Evolve via Oromachistry here. Oh, and we've also... Okay, wait. Find somewhere... Okay. Wait. Okay, so it needs to also be a skill that's attuned to that element of the soul. I see. Okay. That complicates things, of course. So we need an attuned health skill. And so this one, for example, is Bosk. This one is Preservation. Yeah, so Bosk and Preservation is, I think, where we'll find our attuned to health skills. Is it really just 3? That seems... Then how did we get so much health? If it's just 3... I guess, okay, yeah, the other ones are probably currently in use. But, yeah, I think it's either... Hold on. Preservation or Bosk, I think, that we get from there. So that means... Oh. Thank you very much. Good to know that those work. By the way, also, I think what I'll do for channel points is just shard fragments or something like that, because, you know, shard reach, and all that, and I do like myself the shard aesthetic, if you haven't noticed. So that's probably the most logical thing for channel points, and I'll probably use some variation of that icon that I've already used for one of the redeems, the world building question one. Also kind of wondering if I should maybe disable that for Book of Hours streams and more reserve that for art and world building ones, but we'll see. Anyways, so we need an Evolve via Bosk or Evolve via Preservation memory, and I think, hold on, wasn't the Evolve probably in the aesthetic of Aetheryte shards, but I'll probably just call them shard fragments. Okay, we'll see, we'll see. Oh no. Yes, I know they're essentially synonymous. Also, I may have to, if this is how we're gonna play it, I may have to up the price there a little bit, but, anyways, Evolve via Bosk, damn it. Evolve via also no results. Wasn't the old moment... Oh, where is it? Old moment... God damn it, I don't... That had... Safe the old moment had some kind of... Oh, that's also a good point. I should probably get to that. Hold on, let me write that down or I forget it. Channel point. Cool down. Okay. Oh, I'm sure the old moment had some kind of evolved thing, but I seem to have forgotten to write it down. The main thing is just that, you know, since for the Book of Hours streams we're pretty immersed into the you know, Secret Histories world, and that's also where my headspace is at. Um, as I said, it's just some. I'm just considering at the moment. For now, I'll keep it open. I'll keep it open. In general, but maybe if I notice that that's kind of difficult to switch, or something like that. Well, we'll see. Okay, Sky Harmony, that was this one. Opening the Sky, an unusual recording of Veto's Opening the Sky, composed for the coronation of the new king, Henry the Ninth. Or is it then Vero? If it's... It seems Italian, but if it's for Henry the Ninth... Well, anyways. The record bears the suppression stamp Expunge. So... let's jot that down. Opening the Sky. Ah, thank God. Visual Studio seems to have changed it that triple clicking a line actually selects the entire line again. Thank God. I'm reading, the first movement is soft, autumnal, the second unsettling, febrile. Febrile? That's a new word. The third is bright, soaring, rapturous. The fourth movement is glassy, slithering, a tintinabulous icicle rattle. A tintinabulous icicle rattle. Okay. Sure. Uh-huh. The fifth returns to the theme of the third, bright and rapturous once again, but this is a choral movement. It becomes apparent, though, that these are much, much too pure and high to be human voices. They recall bird song, they recall the sweep of the windswept sky, blue turning black at the edge of the higher heaven, and they wrench the heart in a direction the Bureau does not permit. Oh, man. Just the writing in this game, it is a joy. Cheerful ditty, which we've put that in, but that's apparently also what we get back out from this. So cheerful ditty book, quote unquote. What was this? Opening the Sky. Opening the Sky. So, okay, either someone got actual birds to sing the chorus, or they summoned Mansa's spirits that sound a bit, or they summoned avian Mansa's spirits to sing that chorus, which both of those are very funny, but also kind of cool and ominous. Lesson, strings and songs. Heart and Sky. Okay, yeah, that's pretty simple. And we do also already have the Solace, which should remind myself to dream on momentarily. Okay, so this one's now documented, meaning it can get here with the documented books, quote unquote. Or I guess we can just put it here. But then I might think it's still... let's put it here for now. Not like we're hurting for space. And then, lessons, strings, and songs. Hold on. We do have the soul we need to evolve this right away. So... Well, they're kind of the same. Let's... No. Let's, use the cheerful ditty first. Yeah, I mean, are there avian mantis spirits you can summon and then get to sing? But also, you know, I don't think anyone can get percuss against juggle. That was just that one guy. That was very talented, but also very whimsical. Very talented adept, but also too whimsical to really use his powers for anything, uh, anything too noteworthy. Consider there's always more to learn, and then tomorrow we can use the second lesson, along with that solace, which we should dream on now, right? Oh. Oh, never mind. Okay, we can actually dream on this. I thought our bed had sky, but I guess I was mistaken. But it does have hearts, so... And then... Okay. The other books are still being read. What was that one again? Manual labor. As they used to say in my youth, the day is done, and so am I, but I've earned my pay. Let's actually do a night shift, because it's not that big of a deal if we lose that metal. Yeah, exactly. This skill is now level 2. Its power aspects have also increased. Strings and songs, the harmonies of the lower skies, are here reproduced. So, heart and sky, both of which obviously we have in much more ample supply in putrefacitions and exaltations and weavings and not workings, respectively. And also drums and dances, but not quite as well as quite as much as weavings and not workings. But what matters is that we're making progress. There's also this thing, the matter of the resurgences and emergences, which we'll have to take care of. 3. Well, that should be pretty possible with impulse. I think the beguiling memory had Grail and then satisfaction. Yeah, that we can do tomorrow. And now... Daybreak. Memories fade, assistance departs, but the soul is refreshed. And... actually, shockingly, just in time for daybreak, we've actually managed to create the Xanthotic Essence, which we could then use to create more Uzult if we wanted to. Which we do, but maybe not yet. We'll see. Okay, so there's still quite a few things left over from nighttime. And it is cloudy today. Aha, okay. Well, that's pretty useful. Not really for unlocking any rooms, but it is useful for getting us the resurgences and emergences, because if we just renounce the penny, then we get impulse. And then we just need one more memory of Grail for that, to upgrade that. My train of thought was interrupted for some reason. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's do just that. Lake Fucino recordings should get us the beguiling melody, which has Grail, right? Not just... yes. We'll need that one twice, actually. So... hold on. Let me instead get... because it's faster. Let me also get... what was it? Satisfaction from Kittling Ripe's Tasty Treats. So... there we go. Oh. An offer from Oriflammes. Oriflammes Est 1776. Sense Signs Sciences. Dear librarian, we would like to offer you this opportunity to purchase Sunset Celia at the End of Days, an obliviate adept identified only as the Emiliano rants desperately about the part Sunset Celia played in the intercalate. God damn it. One would have assumed that I learned how to pronounce that by now, but guess not. As the proxy of the sun. The part Sunset Celia. Not Cilia, but Celia. Okay, interesting. And it has a tally price of 2, so not quite enough for an iron spintria. Tally price 2, I think, was the tin spintria, right? Or wait, was it iron? Right, it was iron, tin, copper, silver, gold, right? Not the other way around. Well, I guess we'll find out. And this was Sky, right? Yeah, so we'll be able to read it without really any difficulty at all. Okay, a quartz chunk, that's not exactly what we were after, but oh well. I shan't give up hope. We'll find those mushrooms soon enough. Or one day at least, and then we can finally get that mushroom meringue. Still reading that. The clouds. And then the impulse there. Right. And then solace. What can I use that for? Oh, right, the strings and songs, of course. So we'd need a second heart or sky melody. We do need 2 points sky. We do need what was it? No. Oh, the cheerful ditty from the instruments of the heart. We do need that one for something else. So let's get to cracking that open first. And then we can, in parallel to that, get a while looking over the cultist simulator wiki, I found a cute fun fact about Teresa. Sure. Why not? I don't think it'll be too that would be too spoilery, so shoot. If you summon Teresa and then discuss various volumes of the locksmith stream with her, oh, that's clever. She will autograph them. That's fun. That's really funny. That's cool. That's also really cool because it's a kind of reward for, you know, a player that puts together the pieces that she's the author of those volumes. But at the same time, of course, that would be pretty difficult in Cultist Simulator, considering that, you know, in that game, reading a book consumes it. And, you know, the Locksmith Streams books are all very, very front-loaded in the early game. Oh, hello, Bastard Beans. Oh, it does increase the tally value. That's funny. That's really funny. Also, That must raise a lot of questions, like, when is this autograph dated? Oh, I got her to autograph it just yesterday, but she disappeared several years ago. Ah, don't worry about that. Anyways, that's really clever. That's really funny. But yeah, it is a kind of reward for a player who, you know, puts the pieces together that, oh, that's the person who wrote the Locksmith streams. Which I guess that's not too difficult, since the Locksmith stream is authored by explicitly 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐞𝐿, not her other name, the Baldemorian. And if you've managed to summon her, you realize that the woman in the Lodge of the Sage Knight is Teresa, and obviously if you summoned her, you get her name on the card. But that's funny. That's really funny. Are there any other people you can meet who've authored books in Cultist Simulator? I know you can meet Christopher in one of the endings of the Exile, but obviously I don't think he's a... I don't know if he's a card there. I don't actually know. There are actually a few people who appear in Cultist Simulator that I personally haven't really met that much in my playthroughs, because they're either from legacies I haven't explored that thoroughly, or just down paths I haven't really explored. It's always fun figuring these things out, because, you know, you think you know a game in and out, but then always turns out there's more stuff to discover. But anyways, okay, so we're currently getting the satisfaction here, the cheerful ditty here. We do need another heart. What? Points in what? Ah, there we go. Weird. Solace, for example, we can get from notes on bindings. Notes on bindings. Wait, isn't that the one? No, this is Instruments of the Heart. Notes on bindings, there we go. Where to read that one? I guess at Solomon's desk, since that one's not occupied at the moment. Notes on bindings with Fost, I guess. There we go. Okay, so that's what we need to upgrade strings and songs, and also to create an Ascendant Harmony, which we need for this book here, or I guess record, The Invisible Opera. What else can we do today? I guess once we've finished working in the Sweet Bones, we can check for some unusual help. Okay, so this was... Right. Okay, so we still need to wait on the memories. We can upgrade all of that. I guess we could also use the occult scrap. That would be a waste. Okay, Grail Birth. This was Calcite Supplications. Prayer is addressed to the Red Grail by the Sisterhood of the Triple Knot. There we go. And then If we should remember not, let our children remember in their redmost dreams. If we should remember not, let our children remember in their redmost dreams. Redmost dreams, that's been mentioned before, I think, in Cultist Simulator. I don't remember what exactly it entails, other than, of course, what's it? That it's related to the Red Grail. But, Chalice Murmurous, that's the thing. Yet now I remember. Interesting. One thing, I do think is a bit more, hidden than the fact that Teresa wrote the Locksmith's Dream is that, you know, the person that 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿 starts to fawn over in the later volumes of Traveling at Night is also Teresa, since he only refers to her as Baldemora. But then again, I think which I try to remember, either it was her card once you summon her, or some earlier dialogue that reveals that she is known as the Baldemorian, and of course also when she gives you a favor from authority in the Lodge of the Sage Knight, she tells you that she doesn't deal with the Suppression Bureau after what they did to her 𝐒𝐿𝐴, which is interesting because I always thought, I used to think that what she meant is that the Suppression Bureau went after him, but in this game we learned that he actually worked for them during the Great War, so I think that's actually what she's referring to, that, you know, whatever happened to him in the Great War while working for the Suppression Bureau probably wasn't very nice, and so that's why she has a grudge against them. Saint Baldemorus, a patron saint of locksmiths. Interesting, okay. That makes sense, I guess, for the author of the Locksmith's Dream. Funny. Okay, so lesson 𝐠𝐚𝐴𝐥, memory satisfaction. Oh, also this. One prayer describes how sufficient grail aspect can be used with 𝐠𝐴𝐥 to give a life, a little life, a little life to a doll twisted from fabric. That's the recipe we just stumbled across earlier today, or I guess we didn't stumble across the recipe itself, but we did stumble across its mention in another crafting description, which with, I think, a different, hold on, memories, crafting, grail, witching tisane, sea stories. Okay, so both sea stories and 𝐠𝐴𝐴𝐥 can create the doll. Saint Lucia the Eyeless is a real saint who gouged out her eyes because other men were looking at her. Oh, okay. Yikes. Okay, memory, satisfaction. Regret, revelation, gossip, satisfaction, there we go. Book, what was this? This was calcite supplications. Calcite supplications, there we go. Okay, so that's documented now. And hold on, this actually means that we got the satisfaction earlier than we intended to, which means we can actually get this right away. Resurgences and emergences. So impulse, clouds, and I guess core. Another fruit plucked from knowledge's tree. Improve this skill to level 4. There we go. And then here, forge the kindled flame. This was the Admonitory Automata project, footage of experimental devices under development in the Cucurbit under Governor Collar's supervision. This one sounds really interesting. So let's see what the film reel entailed. The admonitory automata are nasty little things of spring and wire, but they all have merry faces of painted tin. Getting some major, what was his name again? In Dishonored 2, oh god, what was his name? The guy who made the Clockwork Soldiers. Well, he basically was Nikola Tesla. That's all I remember. Was it Joplin? I think. Piero Joplin? Something like that? Well, anyways. The last item shown is a prototype towards something called a condignator, which, Collar says proudly, will allow a prisoner to elaborate their own punishment. He hastens to add that he hopes that in the coming era, punishment will be an entirely obsolete concept. Oh, you're playing Dishonored right now. One of my all-time favorite game series. Just purely, well, for one, I love stealth games and immersive sims, but oh, right, Joplin was from the first game. What was his name again then? The guy from the second game. Well, anyways, former student. I mean, I guess both characters had a rivalry with Sokolov. So there is that. But in the coming era, I wonder to when this is dated. I guess Nocturnal period, beginning of the 20th. Yeah, I was kind of... Well, the thing is, I've played both games pretty thoroughly. But yeah, I was thinking about playing... I guess I've played Dishonored 1, I've played Dishonored 2, I've played Dishonored Death of the Outsider, and I've played Deathloop, which, funnily enough, is actually the Dishonored, the setting of Dishonored, just 100, or, depending on how you measure it, several thousand years in the... Kirin Jindosh! There we go! Exactly, Kirin Jindosh, that's the guy. Yeah, with his Clockwork Mansion and his Clockwork Soldiers. Actually, would be kind of interesting to play, but one thing I definitely was considering playing on stream was Prey, which is the one modern Arcane Studios title I've yet to play. Because I've played every other... I guess, okay, they did also make Redfall and Wolfenstein Youngblood, but I think most people working at the studio would also agree with me that you don't really need to play those two titles. It's like Bethesda or whoever else keeps forcing them to make games they really don't want to, when all they want to make is immersive sims. And that's what they're good at, and that's where they excel. But yeah, I love Dishonored so much because it's... For one, I really love immersive sims and stealth games, but for second, just the world building in those games is insanely good. It's genuinely... Like, they had zero reason to go this hard on the world building, and... Oh my god, it's one of... Even before I actually played the games, just subconsciously one of my own main inspirations, just from having, like, watched a Let's Play of Dishonored 2, I think, decades ago. but the setting already through that very muddied lens was also already so evocative that it was like a major subconscious inspiration. And then when I played the games, I realized, oh, oh god, this is already has already subconsciously been such a major inspiration, and now that I've played them, they're an even bigger inspiration because, like, they put so much effort into making the world feel so believable and yet so different from the one we know. Like, the calendar system is completely different, the geology, the culture, like sayings, even terminology, which I find really cool that, they have different words for stuff like, natural philosopher, using the more archaic term of natural philosopher instead of scientist. Obviously, having the completely different calendar system with the 13 months and then the holiday at the end, which is basically you have 13 months, which each have, I think, 25 or some number of days. And then at the end of the month, at the end of the year, there's the fugue feast, which is all the days left in the year. No matter if it's so the fugue feast is actually a bit longer if it's a leap year, and that's basically like a big festival where, because it's considered between the years, it's like the usual rules of society don't apply. So people sing, they dance, they engage in debauchery, they wear a bunch of um, I'll let the ants come. Let the ants come. I guess rats probably more appropriate for Dishonored. But yeah, people wear masks and everything, and just the way the months are named. I've completely stole that whole concept for the calendar system. Because a few of the months are like month of harvest, month of high cold. Those ones make a lot of sense. Okay, so that one's obviously in autumn, that one's in winter, but some of them also have like names like month of clans, month of songs, and it's like you just can feel the history of this world bleeding from every aspect of it. And just like the Empire of the Isles, the different cultures within the Empire of the different islands, and just the continent, the magic system. Oh my god, it feels, it's such a cool take on like of like a pretty high, steampunky, dieselpunky technology society that still has magic, and the way the magic is just themed as this like, very occult witchcraft that's shunned by society. Oh god, don't get me started on the what were their names? The religion, the overseers. What was their religion again? Which is one of the most interesting concepts for a religion I've ever seen, where they're like an anti-theist religion, where they're only, they don't have a god they worship, they just have a devil they fear. So they're basically like a mix between the Catholic Church and Reddit atheists. Abbey of the Everyman, that's the one. Also, such a good name. So basically a mix between like Reddit atheists and the Catholic Church. As weird as that sounds, because they're religiously fanatic against all forms of religiosity, basically. They're like every single thing of superstition, everything of like folkloric belief, that's all superstition, and that's all evil, and that's all forbidden. And it all invites the outsider, which is their devil figure. And, to their credit, the outsider is real, so... it's so interesting because, yeah, they don't have a god they worship, they just have a devil figure they admonish. But still, even with all that, they still are extremely superstitious themselves, just superstitious against superstition. So, if you have if they find you and you're carrying like a rabbit's foot or anything like that for good luck, they'll kill you. They'll just burn you at the stake for witchcraft. Ah, interesting. Maybe that's actually a inspiration for that then. I have to look into that. Religion in general is like something I haven't really put that much thought into my own world building. I know one idea I've definitely had is that, in like regions, since a lot of my settings obviously very sailing centric, that one of the predominant religions in the Grand Reach is, I haven't really come up with a name yet, but basically they worship 8 gods, which are basically the cardinal directions and the sub-cardinal directions, and their associated winds. So there's 4 major gods and 4 minor gods, which are like their children. So there's a god of the north wind, and stuff like that, and you'd pray to them to get good wind, and to navigate you safely in any given direction. But other than that, I haven't really put that much thought into like theology in my own fantasy setting, which is also obviously always very interesting in fantasy settings, theology, because usually in fantasy settings, the gods are real to some extent, but then the question is, okay, but are they real in the exact same way that they're worshipped, or is there actually a gulf there, between, how a religion portrays their god and how the god is actually, what the god is actually like, and how do those two things influence each other? There's a lot of very interesting things. But anyways, so the condignator, which Collar sits proudly, will allow a prisoner to elaborate their own punishment. He hastens to add that he hopes that in the coming era, punishment will be an entirely obsolete concept. Collars. Who was that again? Name sounds familiar. But anyways, that was... Oh, what was the thing called again? Admonitory Automata Project, and that gives us foresight. Well, that explains the thing with the punishment. And the other hand, obviously Collars was a Forge adept, which makes it pretty suspicious that, someone seems to have done a little forge fuckery in the jail, which is why it's currently in its current state. So was that actually him, maybe? Probably not, but who knows? So foresight from where did the reel actually escape to? Is it back here again? No. Huh? Where's the film reel? Huh? Oh, there it is, hidden amongst the other stuff. Admonitory Automata Project. Okay, I'm just actually going to copy all of that. Admonitory... Yeah, I guess makes sense. Admonitory, admonition... the exact definition of the word eludes me at the moment, but it definitely has something to do with... Oh, hello, Smurfton. Any books with a black spine and a white region with black text? I don't think... Black spine, white... I'm guessing a black spine and then a white rectangle or something similar with black text there. No, I don't think we have any books that fit that description. Oh, no, actually, we do have... well, is that a... Oh, yeah. An anonymous prison diary written by a dreamer convicted of oneric irresponsibility and confined to the cucurbit. Okay, so we do have one prison record, which I think Yeah, we can... Hold on, we can read right now. We already have everything we need for that. Because that gave us foresight. So... last thing we'd need is just, you know, a desk with forge. But before we do that, I should put the film reel here with the documented works. At some point I should probably also start, you know, documenting some of these things, these books I've mastered already, but it's not really that big of a need for that for now. Yeah, that's also something I've noticed. Obviously, books in the same series, and also, you know, with a similar theme, usually. That is true. Should probably start, organizing them by something similar at some point, but for now, I think I'll stick to my current sorting system, because for the moment at least it's more functional. But yeah, the Tantra of Worms, which of course we have also in Cultist Simulator, but I don't remember the exact text anymore. So let's read it here. The Tantra of Worms, the entomologist Julia Zawistovsky eventually came to insist that this text was written by insects inhabiting a human skin. She never presented evidence for her claim. There are diagrams. The diagrams are not good to look upon. I am a worm in human skin. The Tantra explains various less than practical countermeasures against the worms, the serpents which are not serpents. Moth and winter are closest to them, and so understand their weaknesses, but both have their own perils. The lionsmith crushes them, but that's not recommended for mortals. And finally, the worms have always been eager to inhabit us. Here are the practices which make us inhospitable to them. There are diagrams. The diagrams are not good to look upon, and none of the practices they show would allow the subject to survive. Yeah, which is interesting because in Cultist Simulator, the tantras were all scrolls, if I remember correctly, but here they're actually books for the most part, I think. Although, is it everything written in Sanskrit? Maybe not everything, but yeah, definitely most of it, or a lot of it at least, were like different tantras. I'm trying to remember, what was a tantra again? Oh, I don't know at the moment, but... Yeah, I mean... I just mean that in Cultist Simulator they were depicted as scrolls, and here they're obviously, you know, hardcover books, like the Tantra of Worms here, you know, as we can clearly see, it's an actual book, not a scroll, like, for example, this... No, wait, this is a recording. This, which is a scroll, which is... Oh, yeah, so this is the Watchful Tantra. That one is actually a scroll, but the Tantra of Worms isn't. Well, they don't really stand up by themselves or for themselves. Okay, puns aside, so yeah, the diagrams. And then serpents and venoms, memory, fear. That certainly makes sense, from the Tantra of Worms. No, not deer. Deer. There we go. Book. The Tantra of Worms, just like the Leonine Tantra actually, and Black Nephirite, and Exorcism for Girls, which I think even after reading it, we're still not really clear if it was performed on or performed by girls. But anyways, Coil and Chasm. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, and these two obviously also documented, right? We did document Calcet's applications. So... or was it Calca? What was it spelled again? Calcinite. Calcite. God, I am dyslexic. In Sanskrit, the word tantra derives from the verbal root tan, meaning to weave or compose, and refers to a type of instructional text often written as a dialogue between a god and a goddess. The exhibition of features... The exhibition features are the earliest... Okay, so that's probably... So the earliest... okay. Anyways. Oh god. Immediately forgotten the spelling again. Calcite. Okay. Calcite. Yeah, okay, we did document that book as well, because it gave us satisfaction. So, yeah. That goes here as well. We have Fear here and more Coil and Chasm lessons. Okay. Now, we need a forge desk. Does Eva have forge? No. Glimmerings. Forge desk. This doesn't have forge. I know one of the desks currently in use has forge, but why not forge on ahead and look for a different one? Okay, no, it seems that our forge desks, currently all in use, mainly this one, I guess. Are there any other forge desks we have besides, that one? Probably good to take note again of which desks we do actually have. So we have that desk. That's not a desk. This is a desk. Funnily, this is also a desk. This is a desk. Any ones I'm missing? Were there any desks? I don't think there were any new desks here. This wasn't a desk. Actually, no desks in the jail. None of these were desks, right? And, even though this is clearly a desk, it doesn't count as one. Frustratingly. Yeah, I mean, I guess they are like the invertebrates of paper. Yeah, I think so. And, yeah, indeed, I think that one's the only one with forge, and it's currently in use, but oh well. We'll just have to be a little patient. So, I'm probably gonna put this hourglass here, actually, because I don't really need it up here, and I can use it down here. And, okay. So, what do we need? This solace. Okay. Oh. Now that we're done with this, let's actually start fishing for unusual help. Fishing with some Arab, why not? Seek unusual help. And then, depending on who we find, we can take a look at what we want to expand today. Because we have a whole helping of options there. This skill is now level 4. Its power aspects have also increased. Resurgences and emergences, birth and death are only directions. Between the two, we find a crossroads. Bosque and preservation. Hold on. Could this possibly... we could put it here with preservation. But the Bosque is already taken. So get a 5th core. Moth and Grail, the gods from stone, made a law that the key of dream cannot be held or owned. The time of stone is past, but the keys remain, so holders of these keys can only be the 7 legions whose crime has set them outside the law. What? And the legions serve an hour of Moth and Grail. When the last remnants of the god from stone are renewed, the law will be renewed with them. Preservation is the wisdom of renewal. Wisdom of renewal. What? When the god from stone made a law that the keys of dream cannot be held or owned. The time of stone is past, yes, but the keys remain. Okay. So the holders of these keys can only be the 7 legions, whose crime has set them outside the law. But, well, wouldn't the law also be no longer in effect since the time of stone is past? Well, and the legions serve an hour of Moth and Grail, so that's probably the Velvet. Isn't it the Flayed Tantra? Because the Flayed Tantra being out of skin, that I think does make sense. I mean, okay, you could say that if the Tantra was flayed, it would be deprived of its skin, but you could say that it's the Tantra of flaying. Yeah, maybe. Legions whose crime set them... I definitely heard the name Legion before, but a crime, okay. Legions serve an hour of Moth and Grail. When the last remnants of the gods from stone are renewed, the law will be renewed with them. Okay, so it's still in effect, but it will also be renewed when the gods from stone are renewed. Preservation is the wisdom of renewal. Okay. Let me write that down, actually. Or, I guess, copy down. Interesting. Do we want a 5th core? Actually, doesn't sound too... it sounds pretty useful because core is definitely one of the soul cards we use most because it's one of the ones we use for cooking. So having more of that on hand definitely won't hurt. The secretary assistant always a legion. Ah, yeah. Sulchana, she was... Okay, so are legions then a subset of ℒ𝐸𝐽, or because then, because yeah, there was definitely mention of the legions in Cultist Simulator. Wasn't there also wasn't there also like a grave of them, or is some kind of vault related to them? In any case, yeah, she was one of the legions, and I'm guessing the crime mentioned is the crime of the sky. Anyways, okay, so we have a 5th core now, which is cool. And in other cases, let's just move on. We have an entirely new skill to learn. Lockworks and Clockworks. That's also such a cool name. And then I'm trying to figure out what to do with all of these. Can I use them? Well, I can use Fear for that, potentially. Foresight. Right, the Foresight I want to use to read Glimmerings. Okay. Heart Unceasing, Beguiling Melody, cool. Memory Satisfaction. Okay. So the oh god, I'm trying to remember what the exact so that's the issue with doing so much at once. I really lose track of which memories I wanted to commit where, but let's help with clearing up some of that fog by starting to read this with what's the best forge we have on offer again? Ah, right, of course, pyroglyphics. And then the metal, Forge the Kindled Flame. Glimmerings, an anonymous prison diary written by a dreamer convicted of oneric irresponsibility and confined to the Kerbit. So Rena is Moon, Winter Legion, Our Lady of Wire's Edge. Was surprised if Metutan... Okay, Forge the Kindled Flame. Let's start off with that. And now, hold on. I want to make some Ascendant Harmonies. For that, I need this. Right, the Faust, and then the Solace or the Cheerful Ditty. If I remember correctly, we're currently getting the Cheerful Ditty. But alternatively... Okay, yeah, we need the Cheerful Ditty once and then twice for this thing. Or alternatively, we could also use Satisfaction. Yeah, sure, let's use this here to craft the Ascendant Harmony. Conjure bright sky music. And then the Cheerful Ditty has exactly the same aspects as Solace, if I remember correctly. And then we can use Satisfaction, the Cheerful Ditty to upgrade that one, right? Yes, okay. There we go. Uh-huh. Oh. Well, good thing we used the solace then. Oh, okay. Now we actually have more memories than we need, probably because we got some extra from some of the books we were reading. Yeah, that was lucky. And so I guess, yeah, we'll use some of this stuff to upgrade strings and songs, but then the satisfaction we can actually use to upgrade 𝐒𝐚𝐨𝐿 potentially. Though of course we'd need some more stuff for that. And then, well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Also, we could also use some of this to upgrade 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐞𝐿 and 𝐿ockworks, which, curiously, that's 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿. I would have sworn that contained at least a little bit of Forge, right? Because it's 𝐒𝐞𝐽works, but oh well. Speed this along. Another leaf on the tree of wisdoms. It's been a while since we've had an entirely new skill, but 𝐿ockworks and 𝐒𝐞𝐽works. The little ways of little machines. And now to upgrade strings and songs with solace and cheerful ditty, I'd say, yeah. And then we can use satisfaction for 𝐒𝐿𝐴. I'm no expert, but I'm no dabbler either. There we go. Huh, okay. Okay, so they don't have the aspect themselves, but if you use them in a workbench with an aspect that they don't have themselves, there's a recipe there. Interesting, okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes I guess you randomly find out through experimentation, but also, of course, some skills have helps against oh god, where's an example? Effective against curses or something similar, and sometimes you'd need a completely different aspect to actually banish the curse. But anyways. Oh, hello. God damn it. Hello, Max. Here's an opportunity. A painter has come to Cornwall for the famous light of the region's afternoons. The surrealist painter provides Grail Moth and Rose assistance. Talk to her before she leaves if you want to use her services. Yes, I've started streaming last week again after going on break for the winter. Like Oronoscopy has 3 apprentice level recipes. Transformations and liberations. Well, we'll find that out on our own time. Okay, Grail, Moth, and Rose. Okay, Grail, Moth, Rose. Ideally, I'd want to try and get into some of this. And of course, the painter can also make use of, well, paint, if I remember correctly. So do we have any Grail, Moth, or I guess pigment specifically she can make use of? And we do have quite a few pigments, don't we? Quite a few pigments. Synthetic essence is a pigment. So is all this stuff. The ichor auroral, but we still don't know how to craft that one, so I'd hold off on using that one. Unless it's... Oh, hell, thank you for subscribing on the Twitch side. Oh, wait, actually subscribing. Damn. I keep getting mixed up with follow and subscribe, but thank you very much. Because one of them on the one platform subscribing means just following, and on the other subscribing following means subscribing, and member, it's the paid tier is member on the one hand, on subscriber on the other, which yeah. That has always confused me, and becoming a streamer myself unfortunately hasn't really helped that much. But anyways, okay, so pigment. Where do we have more pigment? There's some more here, so the bitter black salts are pigment. We have some more ichor auroral here. What's this? Iotic essence. What did she have again? Grail, moth, and rose. So the ichor auroral has a bit of rose, so maybe we could try for that, but then again, we don't have any... Wait, we don't have any rose rooms right now. Now, well, we do have this one, but, nah. Well, luckily I don't have a closet, so... But, nice to know. Kind of, honestly. Yeah, a bit, but more like... I would say it's more... one of those... Because in Fallout Shelter you mostly manage people, and here you mostly just decorate rooms and stuff. So, actually... What's that one game called where you just unpack and pack stuff? Yeah, but it is similar in a way, in the way the rooms are arranged. And also generally just a lot where, you know, Cultist Simulator was a roguelike, this leans much heavier into being a pure puzzle game, so I don't think there's an actual lose state here. Yeah, unpacking. And I think there were also like a few games inspired by unpacking, but anyways, I think that was the main one. Okay, so surprisingly I'm not really finding any moth pigment, which is a shame. Actually, hold on. Pigment, so that's refulgin. I know how to craft refulgin. Not really any other pigments. So we certainly have a lot of lantern in the way of pigments. So, theoretically, do we have any lantern vaults at the moment? Or rooms, I guess. Oh yeah, I haven't taken that much of a look at Deadlock setting-wise. I mean, I obviously know the gameplay. Which, you know, hero shooter, Valve does hero shooters really well, but they're not really my thing. But yeah, the setting looks really interesting. This, like, fantasy noir 1920s. Haven't looked that much into it, but I also, the designs, as always, like Valve, they just know what they're doing. So I have actually looked at like, I think it was a video going over some of the character designs, and yeah, some of them are really good. Yeah, I do have Refulgin. Thing is just Refulgin, I have a lot of Refulgin actually. Thing is just that has 2 Lantern, which we don't need for anything at the moment. What we need is Grail or Moth to boost the painter's pre-existing Grail and Moth. But frustratingly, I could have sworn we had some Grail and Moth pigment somewhere, but I guess not. Was there some paint here? No. That's obviously not pigment. And incidents and books received, like... there's some more. Rose... Well... Single point of rose, obviously not that great, but maybe we can work with that. So we have 12 rows, 13 rows, okay, 12 rows. How would we... So 2 rows there. The painter already has 4 rows, so that would make 6. The paint would make 7, the globe would make 8, and then we're down to food and memory. Well, actually, yeah, hold on, I could give her the Horizon Sight as a memory, which we got from the Stimfling, I think. So that would be 12 already. And then finally we just need to get some food with Rose. Surely we had some food with Rose, right? Or have we used all of that up? Oh, there we go. So this is 1 rose, the blackberry sponge cake. Would be a shame to use it on that. So instead, yeah, let's actually go with the blackberry jam. Or... this is also blackberry jam. The pheasant also has some rose. But yeah, let's go with the blackberry jam, actually. Can we feed that? Yes, we can. And we don't really have any rose drinks, but we don't need to. Rose hip, what was that again? We do have Ruby Wise Ruin. Remind me, what was Rose hip again? I definitely think we had some of that at some point, whatever it was, but... Anyways, okay, so we're going Rose, and we're going 13 for the Perilous Path. First room. You mean this one? Ah, yeah, the rose hips. Berries that promise roses. Yeah, we do have some of that as well. Well, we could either... But actually, considering we only have 1 thingy of rose hips and 2 of blackberry jam, I think I'm actually gonna give her the blackberry jam. Just, you know, by matter of scarcity. Because I don't actually know how to get more rose hips. Because we haven't really gotten any through gathering. Maybe through one of the gardens, but then probably not one of the ones we already have. Anyways. Okay, to start us off, we obviously have to hire her with Florin, right? I'll hire this one for a day. And then the lunar globe, proffer a tool. Basket of apples, notoriously hard to take just one bite. Uh-huh. Oh, right, we do need the last piece of fat. So let's use core instead. Here. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're doing that right now, so if we find some more rose hips, I guess we'll feed those instead, but I haven't really been that successful there thus far, so... And we have found more blackberries, I think. I actually don't know that much, but whatever. We currently have more, is my main point. Oh god, where did I put the apples? They're so big. I guess I'll keep them in my inventory for now. Also, this vase, where do I put that? God. I don't know, I just put it here for now. Because why not? Doesn't really make sense to put a flower vase on a map table, but neither does does putting human skin. So that's neither here nor there. Well, there's actually a quartz chunk here as well for good measure. I don't know. Okay. So we have some of our directives for today. Memory fear. That's good for Coil and Chasm, but we need a nectar memory as well, like scent, which we can get from dissecting fragrant chalice, for example, right? Let's use some Trist. Painting of... Wait, what was the... Yeah. 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿, a spired city is dimly visible through a vast rolling wave. The table's in the way, the chair's in the way, so... No dice for now. Okay, so that would give us what we need to upgrade this. And then 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐻𝑖RA. We have Occult Scrap already. No, not Occult Scrap, Memory Satisfaction. And then we in total need 3 memories. Maybe that's a task for tomorrow? Question mark. Although 3 shouldn't be too impossible. We need memory salt, I think. So going for a swim. And then afterwards we need bed sheets. There we go. Basket of clean linen. There we go. So that's salt. And is there any other moon? Ah, right. Intuition from the Fire Circle Tantra. The Fire Circle Tantra. There we go. Let's go with Trist. Fire Circle Tantra. There we go. Moth Consequence. What was that noise? Proffer a tool. Okay. So 5 rows. Then the paint. The red here. Blood is only occasionally this color. They say more research is if they say more research is needed, don't listen. Exotic pigments. I can offer them something to brighten their canvas. So that's then 6. Then the horizon sight will be 10. The FET will be 12, and the blackberry jam will be 13. Perfect. Wonderful. Alternatively... Well, actually, maybe feeding a pheasant would be easier, because we can get unlimited pheasants if we just buy them, so... And we do also have one of those rotting on our doorstep, so... Actually, yeah, let's go with the pheasant. Memory scent. When pressed, it's a good source for the intoxicating cordial called Ruby Wise Ruin. Oh. Have I ever... So Fragrant Chalice can create Ruby Wise Ruin. Yeah, I know. But I, until now, didn't know how to make it. Yeah, this is Ruby Wise Ruin, which is, you know, pretty good. So, Fragrant Chalice can make Ruby Wise Ruin. I'm guessing that's probably either a heart or a grail recipe. When pressed, it's a good source for the intoxicating cordial. A ruddy liquor wrung from flowers, even when the flowers aren't red. So Fragrant Chalice. And I'm guessing probably keeper level influences. What was Fragrant Chalice again? No, that's Agave Eterna. Trumpeter's Lilies, Cat's Claw. What did we gather? Fragrant Chalice again? I forget. Here. Okay, that's Grail, so I'm guessing probably Grail, keeper level Grail. But obviously we'd have to figure out the exact skill. So if we were to try resurgences and emergences on, like, what's a good Grail workbench? Doesn't this have Grail? It doesn't. How about this? Nope. The morgue? Maybe. Nope. Nah. Hold on, I'd need somewhere to put a flower or something similar. Ah, the alchemist's glassware. Cool, okay, so... Fragrant Chalice. Oh, hello, Toop. Okay, so the oven would also be an option. Okay, Fragrant Chalice. And then Ereb. Yeah, Beguiling Melody, we already know about that one. But this one's new, 𝐒𝐴𝐺. Craft a token to invite the attention of a moth name. Resurgences and emergences with apprentice level moth creates 𝐒𝐴𝐺. Or for a skull level recipe, if I nestle an egg into the knot, I'll hatch something eyeless but pulsing with potential. Okay, so 𝐒𝐴𝐺. I think that's a new one. Crafting moth. Yeah, that's a new one. And then but obviously not what we're after. Now let's check that Beguiling Melody again. Or okay, that would be for the doll at the scholar level, not for the other thing. So let's try some of our other Grail skills. What else do we have in terms of Grail? I think... yeah, Sea Stories also has 4 Grail, so... Witching Tisane... that's also the doll. Damn. Oh, okay, so you're also playing yourself. Good to know. Nice to know. Hope you enjoy your time. I hope that doesn't become too confusing for you, because I would definitely get confused. Leaves and Thorns. Hold on. Do I have leaves and thorns? I do, but it's not as potent. But I guess for checking... ah! Yeah, it's leaves and thorns. At the very least. Maybe it's also Tradesmahara. Let's check. Nope. But okay, it is leaves and thorns. What else possibly? Okay, everything else seems to be the doll, but leaves and thorns seems to be the Rubywise Ruin. Okay, so in effect, we just need to find a way to get leaves and thorns high enough, or just in general our stuff high enough, that we can get a scholar level recipe with leaves and thorns. So we have here space for a solution, which is a liquid. Theoretically, what we could do, which would be the stupidest thing ever. Use Rubywise Ruin to craft Rubywise Ruin. Oh, that's a good point. We do also have that one. Okay, but no, that one is not it. But it makes sense for leaves and thorns, so... okay, we're obviously not going to do that. But it means we can at least write it down now. So yeah, we've discovered the recipe. Now we just need to find a way to get the ingredients strong enough. I guess if we find some other liquid that's high in Grail, but I'm pretty sure every high Grail liquid is going to be drinkable because, well, it's Grail, so that kind of defeats the point. In effect, we just need to get leaves and thorns higher. If we get it to 4, that means... well, actually, hold on. Because Domaine Raveline... hold on, actually. Because Domaine Raveline has 2 Grail, and then Satisfaction has 2 Grail. Which means... that's how we could craft it. So if we go back here, oh right, you can. That's kind of annoying. You can only do the refill if you've actually crafted it, not if you've just hovered over it. But oh well. So leaves and thorns, that thing, and then the fragrant chalice, of course. Oh, where's that thing? Here we go. Ruby-wise ruin. Cool. Yeah, exactly. Like you said, Smurfton. So actually that just needs any kind of flower, but obviously using fragrant chalice makes the most sense because it's 2 grail. Actually, does fragrant chalice tea have 2 grail as well? I need to check that real quick. Because I think we have some of that here. This is... Yes, it does! Okay, so we can basically just make fragrant chalice tea and use that with more fragrant chalice to then brew Ruby-wise ruin. Cool, oh cool, cool, cool. So, yeah, really, we can mass produce Ruby-wise ruin now, which is huge. So yeah, we have a lot of fragrant chalices to gather. Hold on, was it here? No. Wait, no, I'm at the wrong... No, I did get, Honeysuckle, Jasmine, Autumn, Fragrant Chalice in Summer and Autumn, there we go. Oh, and we can even do it in, we can even do it in Autumn, cool. Leaves and Thorns also makes... Right, Witching Tisane, which we've already... Grail, where the sea sounds, I can mix a tide-touched Tisane. Sea Stories and a bunch of other stuff mix. Yeah, good point. That's probably easier than gathering Fragrant Chalice. Well, actually... It's kind of equal, because gathering and then brewing does take more effort, but at the same time you get more servings, so it kind of evens out. But yeah, actually, we could make some Witching Tisane, which we haven't really done yet, we've just noted down the recipe. So... I guess we'll use some core and then Sea Stories. There we go. Oh, whoops, didn't mean to click that. Ascendant Harmony. Cool. And then with the Ascendant Harmony we need the Cheerful Ditty or the Beguiling Memory, and we'll have everything we need to read this, right? Because we need 12 sky. So Putrefacitions and Exaltations is already 6. Then the Ascendant Harmony is 4. Oh. And then the Fost would be 11. We don't actually need Beguiling Memory specifically, just any sky thing, but Beguiling Memory will do, so let's go with that, why don't we? The Tryst, do we need that for anything today? I'm not sure, so let's use the... Sure, let's go with that. Ah, yeah, right, because they're House of Light cooking, right? Yeah, I only started playing after House of Light came out. I did buy the game at release, so I got House of Light by default. with the Perpetual Edition. I wonder if they're gonna make any more DLC. Probably not, since they're working hard on Traveling at Night, but... Are there guests that don't drink alcohol? Wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, I don't think we've come across any yet. But anyways. Okay, next up, Fet collaborate Fet. Perhaps we shared a dream, boosts Rose and Moth. That part of us which walks in dreams. And that's getting hurt 8, and then with the Horizon side, that'll be 12. And then we just feed her the pheasant, and that's that. Yeah, makes sense, but then again, well, there were already a few non-alcoholic beverage, well, whatever. Mainly also just to have some more easily reusable beverages. Since alcohol, you do have to order, or it's even harder to come by. A brisk swim, so that's memory salt. Memory intuition. And unfortunately though, we used up the satisfaction for that crafting recipe. So we'll need to get that again. Satisfaction from, right, Kittling arrives tasty treats. So... we're not already trying to get satisfaction. No, we don't. Good. So... this desk with some shopped, I guess. Kittling writes tasty treats. Fruits of knowledge. Oh, speaking of which, that does remind me, we've actually yet to hold a salon this season. Oh, and we've gotten this book. So, I don't think we'll really do that today, but, I guess that's something we can plan for next time. On Saturday. I can discuss a memory of my assistant. There we go, there we go. Okay, so we have 10 spintria again, which makes a gold and a silver spintria. Oh! Okay. I thought you could only get... pets once by gathering on the moor. I guess that wasn't true. Okay, but now I actually have to... because 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐞𝐭𝐬, that's currently level 2, and I do need health for that to upgrade it. And then forge the kindled flame. Right. Glimmerings, an anonymous prison diary written by a dreamer convicted of oneric irresponsibility and confined to the cucurbit. There we go. Let me jot that down. And what do we have here? The prisoner is plainly terrified and bewildered by this situation and has been unable to wrangle a coherent explanation out of anyone. But the dreams keep coming, and they keep writing them down. Damn, okay, so they weren't even an adept. They just had illegal dreams and were sent to prison because of that. Gotta love the Suppression Bureau. Snow, broken mirrors, half-heard sky music, flowers of white, red and black, a blood-streaked winter dawn, the most notorious signifiers of Oneric risk, fantastically vivid and detailed. No wonder they were locked up. Okay. Their final recorded dream is of a worm jewel beneath Brancrock Isle, which they open with a key carved from their finger bone. Oh. Oh. Okay. I understand a little bit better now. Yeah, so their crime was literally dreaming irresponsibly. Which, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, okay, it's like, I understand to a degree the danger that that dreams pose in this world, but at the same time, you could at least tell them why they're being imprisoned. Bittersweet certainty, that's an entirely new memory, right? I don't think we've ever had that one before. Bittersweet certainty, which is 1 point lantern, which is huge, because it means we can get even further with Inks of Revelation, Oral Contemplations, and etc. Yeah, I know. Doesn't sound great, and the fact that there's a worm-infested hallway in the jail is already not great, and then, well, anyways. So maybe, was that? Oh, yeah. Though in this case, these are prison bars, so at least that's my interpretation. But yeah, that could also be it. Anyways, so Bittersweet Certainty, 1 point in Lantern, 2 points Winter, which isn't that useful to us at the moment, but it is also a melody, which is interesting. Sound, rather. Which I haven't really... I should probably also note that down with some of the other melody stuff. I don't know how a Bittersweet Certainty is a sound, but at the same time, I'm not gonna question it. And it's from a book... Glimmerings. Okay. So, that makes this now a documented book. But also one to abandon at the threshold for now. Okay. So, a lot going on there. Yeah, I don't... That one was very ominous. I'll have to... Key carved from there. Also, might I add, key carved from finger bone. We've definitely seen that one before, haven't we? The, I forget what it's called again, but the... No, wait. No, never mind. The 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿 wasn't carved from a finger bone, but... I think there was like a forge artifact that in Cultist Simulator that was carved, or at least formed from like an ear bone, I think. Malleus Imperative, there we go, yeah. But, yeah, I wonder if their dreams actually caused whatever went down here. I don't think so, but... Well, there's this key. But... this one definitely isn't shaped from a finger bone. Heavy enough that it takes both hands to turn. Heavy enough to brain someone, though you'd need both hands for that too. And we do have Sunset Celia and the End of Days, but we'll have to read that tomorrow if we want to read, I think at least, if we want to read, or I guess listen to this one today. Well, I guess it depends on what this one gives us as a memory. Well, we'll see, but if that's the only key, it's kind of strange that it has the aspect key. That part of the soul called 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐿 is left outside of the white door of the mansis as a key in the door, or a sword outside a king's hall if you listen to the noble endeavor. Right, 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐿, of course. Language is the key. Or speech. Right, the pheasant, and then we want to feed our viper here. Anthony the... well, depending on how you count, either the third or the... oh god. Sixth. Yeah. So yeah, you leave your speech at the white door, and I think the maids in mirror pass the white door and make it across the ascent of knives was there. The dead that pass through the white door, I think all dead pass through the white door, and the ones that manage to climb the ascent of knives become maids in mirror. I think. Which, interesting. Does that mean some maids in mirror are male? Maybe. I mean, maid is... depending on what you mean by maid, maid can be gender neutral if you mean... but, you know, maids in mirror aren't exactly cleaning staff. Yes, I think. There's the voiceless dead, the... that is very true. Definitely, I think once you know, fully pass into the mansis, that kind of becomes... because, you know, they don't really retain much of their personality either, I think, so... Craft witching tisane. It's best when it's warm, but it'll keep. To mend a broken heart, to color a pale soul. Oh, interesting. I don't know. Somehow I didn't just expect a teacup, but... sure. Heart unceasing. Okay, now, the beguiling melody. And with that... Ascendant harmony, beguiling melody. Our last Faust. This thing, obviously. And then purifications and exaltations. Sky harmony. I can master this mystery. Enough sky to match mystery sky. And if I wanted to read this... well, we'll do that tomorrow when we have Faust again. Okay, that's one thing. And then that's that. And we'll feed her the pheasant. I can offer my assistants something to eat. This will increase their aspects. It's also just friendly. Roast it or add butter if you intend to jug it. Jug pheasant. Okay. This skill is now level 3. Its power aspects have also increased 4 scale, which I think is the highest scale we have now. And then, what else do we want to learn? I think 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐻𝕬𝐻𝑖ra, and we're currently in the process of getting, what was it? The satisfaction, I think, to upgrade that. So let's keep the consider thingy open for now. There we go. And then 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐻𝑖ra, where are you? There you are. 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐻𝑖ra. Intuition, Salt, Satisfaction, and Ereb or Trist. Let's go with Trist. Another fruit plucked from Knowledge's tree. To test the door in the eye, the watchman, okay, made. So I believe the living that successfully... Oh, okay. I thought it's mentioned somewhere that the maids in mirror make it past, that the dead... I think it's in the text of the maids in mirror that the dead that climb the ascent of knives enter service of the eulogist. I guess I'm mistaken on that. But okay, so now we've finally figured out how to listen to that. What was that again? The Invisible Opera, a recording of a 1911 attempt at a performance of Wings Within Wings, the so-called Invisible Opera. Okay. And then the Wild Viper. Made in Mirror is the ascent is glass. The walls are knives, each step is blood. The dead who rest before a new cracked mirror, who pass through the peacock gate, who master the sharp stair, those dead enter the service of the sun in rags. Okay, so... wait. Okay, so they're in service... yeah, wait, yeah, the maids in mirror were in service of the sun in rags, which still kind of confuses me because I would have assumed they're in service of the Menacate, but anyways. And yeah, they who master the sharp stare, which is, if I remember correctly, another name for the ascent of knives. Yeah, but I mean, who serves the Menacate? Because she's the one with, you know, the whole mirror theme. Yeah, but they all have names, I think at least all have names. Maybe not all, but most, I think. But Maids in Mirror obviously aren't names, they're dead. More fragrant chalice. So I guess we could make more Ruby-wise ruin now. Yeah, but we have plenty at the moment. Oh, Ruby-wise ruin is a precursor to the sacrament calcite. Interesting. Isn't that the... isn't that the ink you need to contact 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐿𝐵? Oh no, that was Orpiment Exultant. And, so segment calcite, what's that again? Right. That's true. It's here. Okay. Interesting. Funnily enough, it's kind of funny that this is the precursor to this because it has so many more aspects, but I guess it's slightly weaker in Grail. But still, it feels like not that significant of an upgrade. Then is this... This kind of feels like I would at least think that this is also just a scholar level Grail recipe. Yeah. I think, because yeah, there's the Maids and Mirrors, there's the hints, and there's also something about Lantern, Long, and names being, or at least Watchman names and Long, I think, being not having a corporeal form. They walk the mansus, and they can only appear in the physical world through mirrors, I think, because their bodies pass through the door in the eye. I think. Okay, so I could make more Ruby-Wise Ruin, but, well, now I have 2 of them already. So, actually, I'll hold off for now. And then, Sights and Sensations. 2 lessons there, that's gonna be tricky. Although, actually, with the Didumos now, doable. Because we have a lot of sky... We have a lot of sky melodies that also create more sky melodies. We have some winter stuff. We have the Bittersweet Certainty now. Yeah, actually, that's pretty doable, surprisingly. Alright, 13 rows. I think 13 is the highest we've ever gotten an assistant, but we have gotten an assistant to 13 before, I think. Perilous Path. This route was never safe, even before the last round of storms had their way with it. Hold on, have we ever... I've just realized we've never looked at this. The Hermit's Cell. The words Red William are scratched into the wall by the bed nook. This was the name of the cunning man who laid a curse on Hendrik de Wolf, that there would be no 7th of his line. The cunning man that Hendrik de Wolf gelded and imprisoned beneath the house. But this doesn't look like a cell. There could have been no locks. Perhaps that other story is true, that William was an initiate of the Thunderskin, secretly maintained by Hendrik to prophesy for him in the ancient manner. Who were the de Wolfs, really? Oh, it's... It's the Dawn period. Interesting. There's a guest bed down here. I feel like this one would be a bit of a hard sell to any guests. Scale, Moon, Sky, Heart. A snug nook where absolutely nobody will bother the occupant. Okay, I guess I could be sold on this. Never mind, maybe not that hard of a sell. Also called Sanguis Satandis, or by the ignorantly superstitious, the true blood of Saint Januarius. Ooh, God. Oh. Let me take a. I need to take a sip of water. Trauma. Yeah. Yeah. Uh. Okay. So, to anyone new joining us for Book of Hours, before I started playing Book of Hours, I streamed a playthrough of the Ghoul Legacy, where I was hunting several streams for hours the blood of Saint Januarius. Only only to then finally find it in one of the because there's one vault that guarantees it, but for some reason I did that vault and I didn't find it, so I did this Port Noon vault again and again and again in the hopes of getting the blood of Saint Januarius, only to finally find it and figure out I'd already used it. And the thing I was missing instead was something completely unrelated. I think it was the Shadowless King bone. I don't know exactly, but that was... Oh god. That was... So, I have a bit of a... Me and the true blood of Saint Januarius, we have a bit of a history. Because, yeah, if I remember correctly, exactly, I thought that was the final thing, and I didn't find it, and then I finally found it, and I realized it doesn't actually have the remnant aspect. You can't actually use it to paint. Yeah, I mean, I usually do all vaults just because I'm a completionist, or most vaults, anyways, so the medium legacy wasn't actually that much of a departure from the norm for me. But, yeah, I did do that one, well, that's the last one I did, I guess. I have still yet to do the... Exile Legacy at all, and the Dancer Legacy I've only done the beginning because I went for the Ever After Me ending there. I haven't gone for the Change victory yet. But anyways, we have some Parabiate ink, which binds to the one whose name is there written. Minor ink of power. A quire of paper, a tiny potted tree, tiny as a ship is in a bottle, some dawn books, some baronial books. Yes, the long flakes. Part of a balanced breakfast. A granite slab, a hermit's workbench, a moon workbench. Interesting. And, hold on. It's a scalar workbench. Oh. Okay. Interesting. We have some more Domaine Raveline, some more Dandelion wine, some more Lambic Broceliande. I guess, is it Lambic Broceliande or Brocelian? I don't know. Distilled from apples in the oldest forest of the Western continent. Wait. Apples in the oldest forest of the Western continent. So the Western continent would be, of course, the Americas, or one of the Americas, or both probably, since neither of them is particularly more Western than the other. But oldest forests in the Western continent would be, I guess, maybe the Amazon rainforest, or alternatively could also be the redwood forests in California. But obviously apples are native to neither of those. Apples, to my knowledge, came only to the New World from Europe, I think. Right? I don't think there were apples there before. So, well, whatever. And some 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐞 ink. Okay. Anything else? No. Oh! Hermit's stove, but, well, stoves are always the same. Grumbling like an old man. Cool. The 12 Lantern Lord calls some sense this about the Ascent of Knives. The Ascent of Knives is the bloodiest of the Watchman's tests. Those who pass it and are dead enter the service of the 𝐠𝐚𝐨𝐥. Okay, yeah, so those would be the 𝐒𝐚𝐴. Those living who pass it are a little closer to the glory, yes. Use this in a rite with a knock tool and a thrilling air or other resources of equal power to summon a hint from behind mirrors. Yeah, so that definitely reinforces, since, you know, the dead in service of the 𝐠𝐚𝐴𝐥 are indeed the 𝐒𝐚𝐴. We have a whole bunch of more wine here, so I guess we can't store all of this in the kitchen. Oh, there's modern catalog books here as well, of course. So I guess I'll put these here. And then... Hold on, since we're not really speaking to anyone anymore today, let's actually feed this viper. Don't make any sudden moves. It's kind of... Honestly, I kind of find in a weird way that wild viper looks a little bit cuter than the tamed one because of the big button eyes instead of the more, you know, slitted eyes of the tamed viper. But, well. Yeah, it's a step on the way. It's just, because if you go through the white door in your dreams and go through the Ascent of Knives, that's basically what that means. That you can dream through the white door and go up the Ascent of Knives, and, you know, that brings you a bit closer to the glory. Well, that's also very cute, but also mainly just the those big, not googly eyes, but button eyes. And so we can feed you some ham, or alternatively, an egg in these trying times. Let's go, I think, with the ham. The ham. Obviously it'll also require effort, so what will we pledge to the cause here? Let's go with the Edip. We're not using that for anything anymore today. Satisfy this creature's appetite. Food will make a hungry beast or a wild one cooperative. Then, are we currently working at the Sweet Bones? We're not. Let's fix that. Because we need to make back the money we just blew on the paintress, artist, whatever. And then the final bits of soul we have today we can use on cataloging. Yes, yes. Because otherwise, there's not really much else we're doing today. And then we can dream on... this is already committed, yes. We can dream on the bittersweet... Oh wait, no we can't, can we? No, we cannot. Shame. I guess we'll have to get it back if we want to upgrade our stuff, but that's fine. Shouldn't be too difficult. And then we'll need it probably to get these sights and sensations. That's gonna be a bit tricky. And yeah, that's pretty much all we're doing today. I guess we can also start cataloging some of these dawn period books. Sometimes can... Let's be on the safe side and let's go with Orchid Transfigurations, A Feast. A compilation of quasi-Rosicrucian allegories, supposedly by Robert Flood. This is in the original Latin. Oh, 4 Grail. Yeah, I think we can manage. And then, yeah, with the Dawn period books, probably safer to just use our metal because fixing maladies is a pain. Okay, we don't have enough time left to pull a final shift in Sweet Bones, so I guess we'll risk our core after all. Now, I'm really curious about, well, several things. For one, we have another tame viper, an avid student of warm fireplace stones, warm mice, and warm milk. We've just unlocked the room. And, I guess you go here. Anthony the Third. We have so many snakes now. Okay. Boathouse, the best way to come to Brancroc unnoticed. Most recently, an unofficial means for Suppression Bureau officials to come and go. Open air. Brancroc Boathouse. The boat is gone, the sea remains. That is, of course, the way it usually works. Not in my say. So, object, but no description. Is this just another way of... So yeah, obviously we can renounce stuff here. We could also, I guess, go for a swim. Is this any different from the sea? Well, I guess we'll find out. Anything else here? No, actually. That's it. Okay. So other than that, we've just unlocked this. Submerged sea caves. The sea has claimed these caves. The tide thunders below. I'll need to find some way to lower the water before I can enter. Circumstance. Something that is so, but only for now. Circumstances disappear in the season of Numa. What? Okay. A circumstance. Okay. I don't think we've ever had a circumstance card before. This is an incident, not a circumstance. Also an incident. Huh. Okay. Strange. Very strange indeed. Oh, I'm getting some major sunless seas vibes here with the lanterns. But anyways, hold on. Let me actually get this book here to, Since it's documented now, let me get this here. And then... yeah, not much else we're doing today. What's this? Now I have an idea of the book's nature and its contents. The Scar in the Sky. Nin wrote this and came to regret it. Also, a cultist simulator book written in Fuchin. Okay, no winter. 14 winter. Ooh, okay, that's not... where did I put 14 books here? And I think this is also 14, yeah. Yeah, that's a bit out of our reach for now. But I guess... oh, god damn it. My fingertips are puffy and discolored. Now my fingers are tapping. This book is infected with keeper skin, and where it's weakened the skin of my soul, 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 has attached itself. 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 has attached itself. Duendratic. Duendracy is a kind of distraction or... of inspiration, or of possession. A kind of distraction, a kind of inspiration, a kind of possession. In the wind, in the sea, in the crackle of flames, there's a music only I can hear, and when I give it too much attention, the world grows red as rose. So, cured with moth. This melody can be cured with rest, something suitable to drink, and this much moth aspect distract the possessing presence. Okay. We can do that, but alternatively we can also, of course, leave this as is, because there are some things you can do even with a diseased thingy. And we do have much other core. So... yeah, so this is actually, we're now partially possessed by a Duendrazon, which is still such a... like, the idea of a Mansus spirit, of like a kind of spirit that is a melody, and getting possessed by that spirit is basically having the melody in your head. It's like an earworm as a kind of like spiritual possession is such a cool idea. It's really interesting. But those who do not sleep. The mystic Brodnax discusses the origins of the Sister and Witch and of the Thunder Skin. Keeper Skin. This book is blotched with Keeper Skin, a luminous fungus that grows in the wood we see in sleep and enters the world when a dreamer inhales its spores. Keeper Skin containment can affect your 𝐒𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 and 𝐶𝐿 and spread to nearby objects. You can remove it with a skill that's effective against corruption if you provide at least 7 nectar. Okay. It's written in Fuchin as well, which I think, oh no, does have heart, so this is essentially just 10 heart, which, well, that's... well, it's kind of doable if we used core, which we shouldn't. So, of course, we can also just accept another core getting diseased, but that doesn't seem like the ideal solution. I mean, alternatively... so this is 12... the language and weaving are not working, that's 8 already. Oh well, I'm just gonna try to get to 10. So this is 6. Then I guess a health would be 7. I think we do have a heart tool. Yeah, we have the kitchenware. So that's 8, and then we just need a memory, and that's 10. Okay, cool. So we don't actually need core to... yeah, getting rid of the infection is 7 nectar, which, difficult, considering we need a skill that's effective against corruption. And I don't think... Yeah, the only nectar skill we have that's effective against corruption is herbs in infusion, and that's 1 nectar. So that's not happening anytime soon. But we can just read this with our health instead of our core, and then we can master it. So there is that. But yeah, we have got a few things to read tomorrow, and obviously also quite a few things to try and learn in terms of lessons, which we should probably do first. Finally. The Invisible Opera, Unfinished Recordings. A recording of a 1911 attempt at a performance of Wings Within Wings, the so-called Invisible Opera. And then, what do we have? The singers complete the Skubald aria, Beneath Our Skin and A Rose in Mia. Hold on, isn't A Rose in Mia also one of the tracks on the soundtrack? Well, without incident, but the Invisible Opera is dedicated to Ferezerev the Magpie, who delights in unexpected interruptions. And then the recording ends with a clamor of horrified voices, a grating metallic screech, and a soft brass buzzing that fades into burring silence. Burring? What does that mean? The clamor of horrified voices, a grating metallic screech, and a soft brass buzzing that fades into burring silence. Well, I guess we just did, so a bit late for that. We get a cheerful ditty, and more strings and songs. Okay, cheerful ditty. That was the Invisible Opera. Book. The Invisible Opera. There we go. Okay. Slightly horrifying, but I guess that's par for the course. Guess I'm gonna move these here now. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna, see what tomorrow brings, but probably finish it once day breaks. Because I am both somewhat exhausted and very hungry. I haven't eaten that much today, so I seek to remedy that. Daybreak. Memories fade, assistance departs, but the soul is refreshed. Wait. We lost 2... Oh, right, the cheerful ditty. I could have saved that one. Doesn't matter, that one. Well, now, that was one of the people we raided previously playing Cultist Simulator, right? Okay. So, just as usual, I'm gonna check the weather, and I'm also gonna take... Okay, clouds. Okay, that's not useful for this, but it is useful for 𝐒𝐴𝐴, for example. Okay, so our goals are mainly to get all of these lessons away before the next season, because Numa is due. It is very due at this point. And we have quite a few lessons here, some of them pretty high up, especially Sights and Sensations. So 5, I think, is going to be pretty doable. 6, that's going to be difficult. We might have to use... hold on, I guess... No, we can't use Curious Hunch. Oh, we can use 𝐒𝐿𝐵, we can use the Ascendant Harmony, we can use the Cheerful Ditty. So 𝐒𝐿𝐵, Ascendant Harmony... Cheerful Ditty, Beguiling Melody, Solace... Well, that's 5 already. And then, I think Regret would be the 6th. Oh, hello, 𝐒𝐞𝐫𝐞𝐭𝐬. Funny you should join us. We are about to wrap it up. Unfortunately... Hold on, let me just check. Winter Hindsight, for example, is a good source of winter. Regret as well. Oh, hold on, we have a lot of winter memories. So Hindsight and Regret would be good. Winter... Ah, okay, I see. All good then. Okay, so Hindsight, Regret, Cheerful Ditty, Beguiling Melody, and Solace. That's 5. Okay. So we can easily get 5 thingies that way, and then with the Ascendant Harmony, or I guess the Bittersweet Certainty, that makes... that would make 6. Yeah, actually Sky and Winter just happen to be... I think the 2 aspects that we have the most memories of, especially Sky. Winter we don't have that many, but also quite a few. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Getting Numa right away. Yeah, I think I got my first Numa very late. Or maybe I got it like middle of the pack. I'm not entirely sure because I am fairly certain I've only gotten 1 thus far. Yeah, that's... What season does the game start out again? I don't remember. But yeah, I think you get like a full season before the first change, right? But whatever. So yeah, we do have these 3 books that we can also read today, but, well, question is if we really want to do that, or instead just focus on getting the lessons first, and then we can read the next batch of books. And, of course, there's also the matter of a possible salon this season, which we should probably do pretty soon, if we want to make use of the lessons from a salon. So that's also something to consider, but I'll have to think about that in more detail. Anyways. So, yeah, I think I'll wrap it up here. All the other stuff we're gonna continue on Saturday. Save and quit. Yeah, I don't think that one can be Numa. That would be very early. And also kind of a shame because that's way before you have any chance to really, you know, make use of Numa. Ah, okay. The Curious End. Thurza Blake, 7th librarian, put... Okay. I guess we don't get to read that. But we do know with certainty that she's the 7th, which we already did, but oh well. Alright then, I'm gonna look into raid targets. So that would be categories, Book of... who did you say, Moon, just started stream? Hold on, I should mute this. She's playing... Or he? They're playing Cult of the Lamb, which I guess that's somewhat adjacent. I do also have 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐿 games, who I think we rated last time. We played Book of Hours, which I guess was last week. He's currently playing Book of Hours. Thursday Blake, 7th librarian, spent all the house's money on her projects before her disappearance, and that's when the nocturnal... Right, yeah. Hold on. Let me actually... order this. Why don't we leave it up to a coin toss? I don't really have a coin on me right now, so I'm just gonna go with the old Google coin toss. Hold on. Let me just very quickly. Coin toss. We'll say heads for 𝐒𝐿𝐫, tails for Molo... I forget the name. Okay, tails. So Molonara it is. Let me just confirm that raid target. Raid Molonara. Am I spelling that correctly? Yes. There we go. Okay. Well, time has come for us to acknowledge an ending. It has been my pleasure to be your host tonight. If you enjoyed the broadcast, be sure to perform those rites of algorithmic appeasement upon the stream, on whichever platform you may be viewing. It has been my pleasure to be your host, and until we see each other again, safe travels, and have a nice night.